betrayed by our own son pushed off a cliff and left for dead. What happened next will shock you. It was a life everyone envied. Or so we believed. A successful career, a beautiful home, and a son who was everything a parent could wish for. He was the pride of our lives, the boy we had raised with love and devotion, who had always excelled in everything he did. To outsiders, we were the definition of the perfect family united. Happy and flawless, but beneath the surface, cracks were beginning to form, cracks that we never noticed until it was too late. We had always prided ourselves on being the ideal parents, giving our son everything he could possibly need. A good education, endless support, and all the opportunities we never had. Our son was the center of our world, the one who could do no wrong. But as the years went by, something started to change. His smile seemed more forced, his laughter less genuine. There was a coldness in his eyes that we hadn't noticed before, a kind of distance that he kept hidden behind polite conversations. His mood swings became more frequent, and though we chalked it up to the usual teenage angst, deep down, I felt an unsettling unease. We thought it was just a phase, a minor blip in an otherwise perfect life. After all, he was our son. How could we have ever imagined that the person we trusted most would be the one to destroy everything? We pushed away the whispers of doubt, dismissing them as paranoia, convincing ourselves that everything was fine. It wasn't until that fateful day, when the world as we knew it crumbled, that we realized how wrong we had been. What we didn't know then was that our perfect family had been nothing more than a carefully constructed illusion. And the real nightmare was only just beginning. We began to notice the change gradually, but we ignored it. Our son, once so affectionate and open, had started retreating into himself. At first, it seemed like a normal part of growing up adolescence. We thought, the eye rolls, the long silences, the moments when his gaze would drift far away as if he were in another world. But there was something in his silence that unsettled me. Something I couldn't quite place. He wasn't just pulling away, he was shutting us out entirely. And we couldn't understand why. His anger had grown more pronounced, sharper, and it was directed at us. Small, petty things seemed to set him off: an innocent comment about his grades, a suggestion about his friends, or even something as simple as asking him to clean his room. Each time, he'd explode in a storm of rage, slamming doors or storming out of the house. We tried to talk to him, tried to reach the boy we had raised, but every attempt was met with cold indifference. His responses were short, cutting, and laced with a bitterness we had never seen before. What worried me the most was the way he would look at us when he thought we weren't paying attention. His eyes, once filled with affection, now seemed cold, calculating, and full of resentment. It was as if he had become a stranger overnight. And still, we brushed it off, convincing ourselves it was just a phase, that it would pass with time. But there was a heaviness in the air that I couldn't ignore. I could feel the walls closing in, but I couldn't figure out what was happening. What had changed? Deep down, I knew something was terribly wrong, but I couldn't put my finger on it. There was a growing sense of dread, a feeling that whatever it wasn't going to end well. And as the days passed, I started to wonder if we were unknowingly pushing him to a breaking point. The anger that simmered beneath the surface was no longer just teenage rebellion, it was something darker, more dangerous. But we kept ignoring the signs, thinking things would get better, not realizing the true extent of the storm that was about to hit. The hike started like any other beautiful weather, the quiet serenity of nature surrounding us. We had been on this trail before. The crisp mountain air, the birds singing in the trees, the sound of our boots crunching on the path beneath us. It should have been a peaceful day, a day like so many others spent with our son, the one person we thought we could trust with our lives. Little did we know, it would be the last day we'd ever feel safe. We were walking along the edge of the cliff, the view breathtaking, when I felt a sudden shove from behind. It was so quick, so forceful, that I barely had time to react. In the split second that followed, I saw my husband's face a mix of shock, fear, and confusion as he tumbled with me, both of us plummeting toward the jagged rocks below. The world seemed to slow down. And for a moment, everything was silent except for the rush of air around us. As we fell, I felt a cold, almost eerie calm wash over me. And then, just as we were nearing the point of no return, my husband's voice cut through the panic. "Pretend we were dead," he whispered urgently. I could barely process what he was saying. My heart was racing, my body screaming from the impending pain of the fall. Yet his words seemed to hold some strange kind of power. A strange survival instinct kicked in, and I forced myself to go limp, to play dead. As he had told me, we hit the ground hard, the world shattering around us. But through the pain, through the shock, I couldn't help but wonder why. Why had our son done this? What had driven him to push us to the brink of death? His cold eyes flashed in my mind, his resentment palpable. The betrayal was overwhelming, but nothing compared to the terrifying unknown that lay ahead. Was he coming back to finish what he started? Or was this just the beginning of a much darker game? The fall left us broken, battered, and struggling to keep consciousness as the minutes dragged on. The world was a blur of pain, the scent of dirt and blood filling the air. But through it all, my husband's voice remained clear. "Urgent. Pretend we were dead," he repeated, his words a lifeline in the midst of chaos. As my body screamed in agony, I forced myself to comply. The instinct to survive kicked in, and we lay there, motionless, barely breathing, hoping that somehow, in this twisted game, our stillness would save us. It was the longest wait of our lives. Every rustle of leaves, every distant sound of footsteps had us straining to hear, to feel whether our son would return to finish the job. I couldn't shake the feeling that we were being watched, that somehow, even in our vulnerability, we were not truly alone. My husband clutched my hand, his grip tight, a silent promise to protect each other in the face of the unimaginable. Time felt distorted, stretching into infinity as we remained still, pretending to be lifeless. The pain was unbearable, but we couldn't move, couldn't make a sound. What if our son had already left us for good? What if he had truly meant to kill us and had walked away, leaving us to die in the wilderness? And if he did return, what would he do? Would he finish what he had started? Or had he simply used this moment to test us, to see if we could survive? Every crack of a twig, every whisper of wind seemed like a harbinger of doom. Our fate rested on our ability to fool the one person who should have cared for us the most. And as the hours stretched on, one horrifying question gnawed at me. Was pretending to be dead enough to save us? Or had we already lost everything? As we finally managed to stagger to our feet, bloodied and bruised but alive, the world around us felt surreal. We had survived, but at what cost? My mind raced as we made our way down the rocky trail, every step heavy with the weight of what had just happened. My thoughts kept circling back to the same question: why? Why had our son betrayed us in the most horrifying way imaginable? The pieces didn't add up, and I could feel a chill creeping up my spine as the unsettling truth began to settle in. When we finally returned home, we were met with an eerie silence. There was no frantic search for us, no desperate phone calls. It was as though our disappearance hadn't even registered. The realization hit me like a ton of bricks. This wasn't just some impulsive act of violence. Our son had planned it. He had been calculating, setting the stage for this moment long before the hike. The man who had once been our little boy, the one we devoted our lives to, had become a stranger who could look us in the eyes and then, without hesitation, push us to our deaths. We began searching for answers in the only place we could: his room. But it wasn't just his room that held the clues. The house was filled with signs we had overlooked for so long. Strange messages he'd left behind, items he'd hidden away, clues that painted a chilling portrait of his mind. The more we uncovered, the more terrifying the truth became. This wasn't about anger or rebellion, it was about something much darker. Our son's actions had been driven by something deeper, something twisted, and as we pieced together the puzzle, the question loomed larger than ever. What had driven him to this point? Had we failed him so badly that he saw no other option? Or was there something more sinister at play? The truth was unraveling before us, and each revelation was more terrifying than the last. The nightmare we had feared was only beginning, and the depths of our son's betrayal were far darker than we could ever have imagined. If this story shocked you, hit that subscribe button and never miss another jaw-dropping reveal.